here he is, the tea time truth speaker. It's Darren Gough, and we've got to play this music. We've got to play this. Got to play. That has to be the intro, doesn't it? Yes, you've even got it. You've got those. Craig Revel Horde would be very happy about that. That bit of handiwork. You still got it. You still got it. Great to have you on, Dazzler. Thank you very much for rushing back all the way from TalkSport to be with us at 9 o'clock tonight. How are you?
It was a bit of a worry, mate. I must admit, I had a little bit of a delay on the train. I thought, can you believe it? The one day in the last 6 weeks, no delays. Today there was a slight delay. It meant I got in about 10 to 9. I ran in the kitchen, put my bag down, and poured myself a glass of my own wine. I'm sure we might get up to talk about that.
Your own wine?
And I'm straight. Well, my charity wine. I do it for charity, don't I? Care for Wild. It's done through another company, but we'll get on to that. And it's going really well, mate. We've won golds and silvers and bronze. Can you believe it? Darren Gough wine. It just doesn't go, really, does it? But hey,
it should be brown ale or something, surely.
Exactly. That's where everybody would associate me with, probably a beer, which wouldn't be far wrong, would it, really? Let's be honest, where I'm from. Wine, into the wine industry. And I'm not making any money. The worst thing about it, it's not for me. It's actually raising money for a great cause. So, and we've done really, really well with it so far.
What is the cause?
Care for Wild. I've got the one I'm drinking now. This is the entry level. We have 7 different bottles. Each one's represents a little rhino from the orphanage. I go and visit. Me and my wife both volunteer there. So this is Ruby Bell. This is the entry level. This is what we call the entry level. I don't want to say cheap one because this is around $8.95. Then we have the mid range, which is called the Arthur. He's the pin-up of the Rhino Orphanage world. We do a rosé, a Siri Vauginier, and what else do we do on that? And Savsem. And then we have the top range, which is the Black Rhino, because there's only 5,000 of them left. That's called the Odin Protected range. That sells for about 24. But we've won a gold for that. Our Chenin Blanc, and we've won, I think it's 3 silvers and 2 bronze, and we've only been going 9 months. Can you believe that?
That's amazing. Yeah,
well, the company that do it is a company called Fegenet Copestick. You might recognise it if you look at the Prosecco, what's got that like diamond cut glass, that real posh glass look. Looks really expensive, but it's Prosecco. They're a big company, and they got involved with me. I know Robin Copestick really well, and what they've delivered for charity is absolutely amazing. But they've delivered a wine that's winning awards, and it's the charity's already in 6 months had £15,000 out of it. Absolutely out of this world. Really, really is.
Is it South African?
Oh yeah, South African. It's got to be.
Yeah,
all South African. And like I said. Can I say this? But Boris Johnson's just ordered 4 cases.
Has he?
And that's honest truth. Paid for it. There's no freebies. Even I buy it.
You sure the taxpayer's not paying for it rather than Boris?
No, trust me. Well, the reason it is, my next door neighbour is Ian Duncan Smith, right? He lives right there, right through this window. Lives across there, about 80 yards away, right? So, but he doesn't buy the wine because he's tight. But Nigel Adams, you'll know Nigel. Have you met Nigel Adams? Great bloke. He was on my benefit committee years ago. He's part of the cabinet. He's the original one who bought some wine. And obviously Boris popped round, obviously social distancing and all that on the balcony at his flat in Westminster. And he tasted it and he ordered 4 cases. So we're over the moon, mate. Over the moon.
That's a great advert. And it just makes me think, Simon, that most people have got a wine and a podcast now, haven't we? Apart from we've got a podcast, but no wine. Yeah. So maybe we should start.
Should do one.
Yeah. We had Beefy on, actually. Beefy's done his own bit of wine tasting on this show. So we missed a trick there. We should have done a bit of that with you as well.
I wouldn't have
welcome to everybody else anyway. Sorry about the late start. That's obviously totally Goughy's fault, but actually it's rather nice. It's enjoyable having a late one. Simon's almost at his bedtime, I suppose, but hopefully we'll keep him up a little bit.
I'll stay up
BBC side. Typical BBC.
Well, yeah. Let's if it's entertaining, I'll stay up. I'm sure it will be, Goughy. I see Alistair actually has joined us from Brazil, and he says loving the time slot. It's the first time I've been able to join. Because he's there presumably because he's, I don't know, I'm trying to work out what time it is in Brazil at the moment.
It'll be about 6 hours behind or something. Be like 3 in the afternoon.
Probably, I don't know, well, he's finished his work. Perhaps he could let us know. He's
just
4 hours behind. Yeah, he's 4 hours behind.
So he's just come back off Copacabana Beach. This is a truly global show, actually. We haven't got Saha Dindu this week, who's in Bangalore, because he's queuing. He's got to get up in the morning to queue up for his second jab. So it would have been 3 o'clock in the morning there, but he's had to go to bed. But this is a truly global show, so welcome to everybody from overseas as much as from England and Scotland. And
I will say, Simon, Pushkar's from India's here.
Yeah, Pushkar is from here. So Pushkar is from India. He's stayed up into the middle of the night to listen to you, Goughy. Brilliant.
Oh, good man.
And people have sacrificed the football. It's still 1-0, Paris Saint-Germain against Man City at the moment, but we're not interested in that, are we?
Well, I will be. I have to watch it before tomorrow. So I record. Well, do I say record now, or you just like whatever it is? And I go in there and I'll watch it after. So I have to watch it because I'm going to work on it tomorrow, haven't I? So I've got to.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit of cricket then.
Go on.
Goughy, what did you make of England over the winter?
I think it was one of them, wasn't it? I think realistically, when they went to India, let's talk about the India bit. When they went to India, I think we all expected them to lose, probably, didn't we? I mean, let's be honest about it. But it's like anything. When you get off to a nice little win in that first game, you go, "Oh, hang on a minute, hang on a minute. Just get in front. You just never know." We got some decent players, got some good players actually, some great players, and it just didn't happen. We got thrashed from then on in. After winning the toss, which I'm rather pleased at, because everybody was talking about, and I'm sure in broadcasting and whatever, you win the toss, you've got a better chance of winning the game. We all know that, right? And that's what we do. But it was good that India kept losing the toss, but actually won the series in the end, because I got sick of hearing that when it comes down to it, although it is a big advantage. But India was so much stronger. They got better spinners by an absolute mile. They play spin better than us. I don't think there was much difference between the seamers, but India are a fantastic side, and England just didn't lack that kind of skill to play against some of the skill they come up against. I mean, Ashwin, it was out of this world. Axar Patel, their third choice left armour, was pretty good as well, and they were too good for us. Let's be honest.
Pitches? What about the pitches? Do you think they were unfair?
Mate, they were totally unfair. And listen, I don't mind losing. I don't mind when you come to England, you expect the ball to swing around. You don't mind when you go to Australia, you expect the ball to come through quicker and be a bit more bounce. I don't mind you go to India and Pakistan and Sri Lanka and expect the ball to spin. But come on, guys. I mean, we don't expect a pitch to be turning like it was and going through the top, not just turning on day one, the first morning of a test match. And if you've ever heard me criticise cricket in this country, my biggest problem with county cricket is, and the groundsmen take it personally, it's not the groundsman's fault. We've got to remember, I've been a captain of a first-class side. I know how it works. I go to my groundsman and say, listen, we're playing Middlesex this week. They're all going to be on the back doddies. Just put a little bit of grass on and full of length. We want to make it seem that first couple of hours. But what you don't want is a pitch that just goes all over the shop and the game's over in 17 wickets fall on day one. How many times do we see that in county cricket this last 3-4 seasons? Because people, captains, coaches, it's all about results now. They're desperate to get a result and they're worried because they play up north. And this is mainly the northern teams that are guilty of it. They prepare pitches that are not good enough to play first-class cricket on. And the game's over in 2.5 days. I mean, it's ridiculous. A 4-day game with good players playing in the game, by the way. They're not rubbish, the county players. They can play cricket. They've got high skill levels. But the game's over in 2.5 days. I think I watched one game last year. It might be last year or the year before. Gloucester played Glamorgan. And the game was over in 2 days. It was like watching the test matches in India. It's ridiculous. How can How can you have so many players with high skill levels, with bat and ball, playing county cricket, first-class cricket, and a game be over in 2 days? It's ridiculous.
Mm. Yeah.
What do you so having seen the winter, Gough, I mean, I know there's a bit of cricket to come. There's New Zealand. What sort of challenge do you think India are going to pose to England this summer? I mean, not the normal run of it.
Massive.
England lose in India, India lose in England. But what about this summer? What about this summer?
Whoa, I don't know about that, actually. Listen, I think India are outstanding. I mean, watching Rishabh Pant play this winter is the future of cricket. Let's be honest about it. We're all going to rate it and we'll love it at the same time. The way he plays in all formats is how every cricketer in another 10, 15 years is going to play. We've got to accept it, guys. I know you might not like it, but that's the way they're all going to play. Rishabh Pant, that's the way kids are going to follow. They follow people. We followed Kevin Peterson. We followed Ian Botham back, if you want to go that far back, playing like Ian Botham. Then we followed Flintoffs or whatever, and then you go on to the Stokeses and your Rishabh Pants and these guys. You copy Kevin Peterson. People copy, and those guys, the way they're playing, will come to England. It might be a bit more difficult, the ball nipping around, which I'm sure England bowlers will want it to do against that Indian batting lineup. But I think they offer a real threat. I added up their bowling attack. They've got a choice between 11 fast bowlers, 11 who could all play and not really, really weaken their side. Their best two skillful bowlers didn't play in the Test series against England over there in the winter. They've got quality in Bumrah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, he's absolutely A1. Siraj, I think he's as skillful as Bumrah all day long. He's an absolutely fantastic seamer. But you've got Kumar, who we saw in the one-day series, is absolutely superb. I forgot the other guy now. Plays for
Mohammed Shami.
Yeah, plays for Punjab Kings. I know from watching the IPL. He's got really, really skillful skills as a fast bowler. Swings the ball both ways. So I don't know how India are going to decide who plays when they come to England with a seam, with a seam. On the spin department, they've got Ashwin, Jadeja. We've seen how good he is in the IPL, by the way. How good a cricketer is he?
Yeah.
He often gets overlooked purely because of the skill of some of the other guys he's played with. But Jadeja, for me, is high-class cricketer. I think they will go to him as first choice. I think Ashwin will be second choice. But they both probably play because they both bat. And then the batting lineup, opening batsmen, they might struggle. Alongside Rohit Sharma, who I think is one of the best cricketers in the world, by the way. If you're picking an all-format cricketer, Rohit Sharma, for me, is absolutely superb. I love watching him bat. Love watching him bat. Virat Kohli is going to get big runs. I'm telling you now, you watch it. Virat Kohli will get huge runs.
What about, you talked about the Indian bowling. What about England's bowling? You've done a bit of work with the England bowlers in the past. Now, I was actually with Mark Wood last week in Ashington making a World Cup documentary film. And we talked a little bit about his run up and how he's lengthened it, and that's taken the pressure off his bowling, or his body rather. Talk about that a little bit. And also, one thing I just wondered with Bumrah, actually we've had discussions on this chat, on this club about Bumrah's future. Brilliant bowler. Can he sustain it, Test cricket, bowling like that, with that short run up, with the amount of effort he puts in at the crease, which Wood has sort of dissipated a bit by lengthening his run?
Yeah, well, first of all, Mark Wood, definitely the right thing to lengthen his run up. I think it's just helped him getting into. I always believe in the fast bowler. When you start at your run up, I always had like a nice little walk into it, and then it's a gradual increase of pace. You get to the crease, and then when you hit crease, that's when you're at your optimum. And you actually, Mark Wood's always had that at the crease. One good skill he's got is getting through his action. That front arm's pretty strong. Gets through his action, and he gets straight through the crease. He falls over a lot. You remember, I used to fall over a lot as well. The effort that goes into it. So by having that longer run, it just helps him. That shorter run, everything in a burst was just all too frantic. And remember Simon Jones. Simon Jones was very, very similar. And I think if he could play use his career against Simon, who was a fantastic talent and great to have that sort of pace. I think he'd probably lengthen his run a little bit more. If you remember Simon, what he used to do, he used to run the same pace. Even if he came off a longer run-up, it was the same approach all the time, no matter where he ran from. He couldn't change it. Now, you look at bowlers who have got talent who can try different things in game and outside of game in practice. They'll try different things. Dominic Cork was an ultra talent. Dominic Cork could come wide and run at an angle. He could run straight. He could run and jump out. I used to do it as well, but certain bowlers had to do it exactly the same every time, repetitive. People like Andy Carrick, I'm trying to think of bowlers who I play with, or Angus Fraser. They had to do things the same all the time.
Yeah.
So first thing you have to do when you're coaching is work out the bowler. You don't want to change them too much. You want to come what feels natural. And that's why we all do this thing. Remember that thing, Yosh, you might remember it when we used to be younger. They said, oh, you can't run your run up because it looks amateurish. Why not? When you bowl, you run, don't you? Why do we walk?
You mean when you're marking it out?
Yeah, why do people say it's amateur if you run it? You know what I mean? It's what feels. You know what I mean? Some days you feel better than others.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You use the tape measure. Which a lot of people do now. Some days it's different to others. Do you know what I mean?
Feel light, you feel sort of more springy, don't you?
Yeah, so I like to run it out and how I feel and relax my body and run it out. But Mark Wood, I think the way we use Mark Wood, I just think he's got one of those bodies. He's got real tiny legs. Remember Craig White? He's got really tiny legs, Mark Wood. And unfortunately for him, he's a great athlete. He bowls quick, bowls at 90 miles an hour, but he obviously hasn't got the engine. And what I mean by that, he hasn't got the old chassis and everything that goes with it. And I would use him, and I've always said this, I said this with England when I worked with them in New Zealand, I would 100% only bowl Jofra Archer in 2 tests and play Mark Wood in 2 tests. That's the way I would go with those two. Have them at their optimum every single time they play for England. Having Jofra Archer, although he's got the skill to do it, bowl at 85 miles an hour in a test match, all it does is creates criticism. The media are expecting, because they saw it in that first test in the World Cup, when he was bowling at 93, 94 miles an hour. They expect that. And they do from a fast bowler. They expect it every single game. And you can't do that. No one can do that. Steve Armisen didn't do it. Flintoff didn't do it. These guys, they honestly...
What about you?
Well, I couldn't do it. I would never a 90 miles an hour bowler. I bowled 90 miles an hour in spells and got right up to 94, I think, around that mark at Lords once at MCG.
What do you mean, I think? You looked at the radar,
well, I know I did.
Speed gun every bloody ball.
Well, of course it did. Free Serve used to sponsor it and pay the fastest bowler in an England shirt of the year 10 grand, mate. I won it 3 years in a row. Devon Malcolm was spewing. He was quicker than me. And I won it 3 years in a row. He kept saying it was fixed. I was sponsored by Free Serve on the side, so it was always good. But on the bowlers, right, I worked with 2 bowlers more than any others in New Zealand, and I loved it, what I did there. I worked with Chris Wokes, who, what a talent he is, by the way. Working with him, listens, wants to change, wants to improve, absolutely ultra impressed by his whole attitude. And the way he improved in that New Zealand series, I thought he was going to be a regular for England in every form of cricket. For some reason, he's not been used the last 9 months, and I can't explain that, because honestly, that guy is quality, and I mean high quality. He can change things. He can run from anywhere. He does things, and he feels it straight away. And there's a difference. People can feel the difference and what makes them better, and they can change instantly. Some guys have to do it every day. But with Chris Wokes, it's backing him, telling him what he needs to do or what you think he should do to perform overseas as well as in England. Because in English conditions, I always felt he can bowl between 79 miles an hour and 85 miles an hour, and he'll still bowl the same because he's got high skill levels like Jimmy Anderson. But when they go abroad, people like Wokes have struggled. You look at his average away from home, it's 60 odd, isn't it? He's better than that. Guys, trust me, I'm not just saying this. That guy is better than that. He should be averaging late 20s, early 30s when he goes to any country. He's an high quality skill bowler. And the other one was Saj Mahmood, who again, Saqib Mahmood, I'm thinking of his cousin.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic performer, huge heart, wants to learn. I was with him every day, working with him, and I see him as more of a one-day cricketer at this moment in time. But if he keeps with the desire he's got as an individual to keep going, I can see him, especially when England go abroad, coming into play for England. Is again as someone who's just got a huge desire to bowl fast. I like that because he wants to bowl fast. He doesn't want to bowl 85 miles an hour. He wants to bowl fast. And that's something you have to want to do because it hurts. Bowling fast hurts and you're going to get injured. Simple.
Gough, you were helping out with England on that tour. I mean, was that a one-off for you, or do you have aspirations to coach more, or how's it going to work out, or is it going to work out?
Well, I'll be honest with you. The job was there for me if I wanted it. Now, I want to help. I want to help England. I want to help cricket in general. I love coaching. But what I don't want to do at this stage of my career is go away 220 days, 240 days a year. To be an England bowling coach or an England assistant coach, the title would have been, for me, was just too much. And you can't go in and dip your toes in and do stuff. Saying that, I did a little bit with the under-19s to start with, and obviously I got a good report. And I wrote a report when I worked with them on every single bowler, and I still remember the guys I worked with. There was some fantastic talent. And they were impressed by the report I wrote. And then obviously Chris Silverwood has got a lot of respect for me, and I played with him at Yorkshire when he was coming through as a youngster, and always rings me for advice, still does. Only spoke to him 3 days ago. And he got me over there. And like I said, honestly, mate, I loved it. I absolutely love being a part of cricket again. I've missed it so much over the years. It's great commentating now and again, but when you're out there on the pitch, it's fantastic. And my heart was almost like pulling me to get back in bowl. It was there. I can do it if I want. The job's there. But I just could not take myself to go away that amount of time at this stage of my life. So if someone
break it down a bit, I mean, they could break it down a bit though, surely, and have you for sort of
I don't
30 days or something here and there.
That still might happen, right? That still might happen, and the option is there. Gradually, I've cut my days back at TalkSport to 4 days a week, and now because of these new tax forms, which I don't know if you know about now, the I-35 self-employed things, I'm probably going to cut my days down a little bit more. So it gives me a little bit more time to do things I really want to do. And cricket, I've missed it like mad. I can't explain how much I missed it. And at some point, whether it's helping counties or England age groups or England Lions or England itself, at some point, I would always do it because I love the game. I love it. And I love working with cricketers.
Do you think you can be a pundit and a coach at the same time, or is it got to be one or the other?
No, I think what they know with me is they trust me 100%, or there's no way. That says a lot, the fact they asked me to do it when I was still a pundit. And they know I never, ever give anything away. That's just the way I am, where I'm from. Chris Silver would trust me 100%. He knows things that he would tell me are things I would never, ever repeat on air to just get a story on radio. That's not me. I love the fact that I still get cricketers who are playing for England text me and ask me questions about conditions or bowling at certain players. And I feel really honoured that they asked me to do that. And if I was to take that into my commentary or my pundit stuff, I would be betraying that trust, and I never would do it. And I'm lucky that the people I work with accept that. There is certain things you can say, like I'm saying to you now about working with Chris Wokes and the talent he's got, and what we worked on with him was hitting that length. He has to bowl 3 or 4 miles an hour quicker when he goes abroad. It's quite obvious. He has to bowl slightly fuller length. That fear of getting driven, which he had with a new ball in his hand when he went to Australia or he went to South Africa or India, just drag it fuller with a new ball. If you're not taking wickets with a new ball in that first 15 overs when you go away from home, when are you going to get a wicket? You've got to attack, you know what I mean? You attack with the new ball, risk going for 4. I remember Dominic Cork in '95 when he was probably at his real best, and I mean real best by the swing, the shape he got. I was going through a bit of a rough time actually with my changing my action and things like that, but he bowled in South Africa. I still can't believe this when I think back. He bowled without a mid-off, bowling outswing, full, without a mid-off. Now, I would never even think to do that, but Don was so confident in the amount of swing he was getting and the line he was bowling, but they weren't going to hit him there. He got 7 for, I think, that day. Jack Russell caught nearly every one. You probably were there, Si. I mean, in Johannesburg in '95, he was unbelievable, Corky, on that tour. And to bowl without a mid-off, ridiculous.
Actually, that's a good segue into looking at a couple of highlights of your career. Before I do, 2-1 to Man City, by the way. Mahrez has scored twice in about the last 10 minutes. He just hit a free kick straight through the wall somehow. So
wow.
Yeah, so it's 2-1 to Man City. I tell you what, let's just go back, because you talk about pitching it up and trying to get wicket, being aggressive and taking wickets. So here is just a little clip of undoubtedly one of your finest moments. Just got to find it. Can you see that?
I can see the crowd, yeah.
You see the crowd? Right, have a little watch of this.
Beautifully bowled. Darren Gough. Has he done it again? Yes, he has. Lifting delivery just short of a length on Ian Healy's off stump. He's on his way to the pavilion for 14. Stuart McGill, the new man at the crease. A nice test score of 43. 4th test in Melbourne. He won't improve on that today. We saw it in the Melbourne test, and Darren Gough has done it again. In Melbourne it was the off stump. Today he aimed at the middle. Darren Gough on a hat trick. Colin Miller is the man to try and stop him. Got it! Got it! Well deserved. A magnificent delivery from Darren Gough. Knocked the stumps over twice. Dismissed Ian Healy. They're the 3 he will remember the rest of his life. Why wouldn't he be hugging happy? The rest of the Englishmen are around him. A great moment for Darren Gough.
When it comes down to that hat-trick, the hat-trick is an amazing cricket. That tour, it's weird because twice, in '94 I went there, first time I went there, and my son was born, Liam James, 24th of November, right? Same as Beefy, same name as Beefy's kid. And that wasn't planned, by the way. He was born the same day as Beefy, 24th of November, and I called him Liam James. Now, Beefy's kid is called Liam James, isn't it? It's mind-blowing. That happened in '94 and at Brisbane. I went back there in '98, '99, that tour when I got the hat-trick. And night before the first test, my granddad died, which I was that far from going home on that tour, because obviously, like I say, my granddad and my grandma brought me up when I was growing up. My mum and dad were always out working. And I stayed. I played in that test match, and I think I got 1 for 150 in the game, and I got a duck, which was the worst test match. And I thought, I just think I'm not going to be able to get my mind right here. And then from then on, the next 4 tests, I bowled beautifully. I bowled as good as I've done in an England shirt, really, throughout the series on flat pitches. If you remember, Adelaide, that series was flat. Melbourne was flat, even though we bowled them out in that second innings. Dean Headley got 6 in that second innings, which was a great spell of bowling. Me and him both bowling reverse swing. 2 England bowlers bowling reverse swing. Amazing. Would you have ever thought it? And then Sydney came. And as you saw, that was the second new ball. And when I'm talking about the length you have to bowl with the new ball when you go to Australia, and England are going to find this out next year. And this is one place I might actually be with England, that if they're going to take me anywhere, I would say it's probably going to be to the build-up to that Australia Ashes Test series, I would like to think that's where they would use me. Because someone who's quite short, to have such a good record in Australia, might be quite useful in helping people on the lengths that you have to bowl on different pitches. And that second day, I was so tired. I bowled a lot of overs. Mentally, it had been a long tour for me. Been away from my family and like I said, my granddad dying. And he got to Sydney that second spell, and we had a party that night. And this is genuinely the truth. And we were late behind the overs, and they were telling us that we had to rush through it because we had to get to this party, sponsors Vodafone, on a yacht, and so we had to be finished on time. So I was rushing through the second new ball, and I got those three. Honestly, mate, I was so underprepared for that, and I wasn't expecting it because they were flying Australia. They were scoring well. They were hitting the ball around. It was a good pitch. It was flat. To the second new ball, and it just happened, mate. The ball was swinging, and I bowled 3 deliveries there. And if I'm absolutely 100% honest, I can say this now. I didn't mean to bowl any one of those 3 deliveries, mate. I swear down. The first one to Ian Healy were meant to be fuller, which I slipped at the crease, dragged it down, and it ended. I was bowling quite lively at that spell. I've got one picture up in one of the drawers in this room, which shows how far the keeper was back. And I show my kids that now because I still look at that picture and think, what a surprise that was, how far the keeper was back. I was bowling pretty quickly. And it went through to Warren Egg, who was the keeper. And then the second one were meant to be, he got 3 or 4 slips in place, I think we had. It ended up being an in-swinging Yorker, which I didn't mean to bowl. And the third one were meant to be an in-swinging Yorker, and it ended up being an outswinger, which was an absolute, the best ball of the lot, one of the best balls I've ever bowled that's taken a wicket. I've bowled better balls that have not taken a wicket, but for that ball there, the shape of it was amazing. I mean, that's Jimmy Anderson quality, that, isn't it? I mean, pitching on middle and leg, swinging from middle and leg, hitting off. Jimmy Anderson, eat your heart out.
Yeah, we've got a nice other story about that performance. Norts, do you want to just tell us your story? You're listening in the background.
Yeah.
Go on, tell us your story about this hat trick.
Yeah, well, I was in Australia at the time of England being on tour, and I'd seen from my cousin's house the England win in Melbourne. I had a ticket I took my wife to her first cricket game, which was that Test match at Sydney for the first day, the 2nd of January. The only thing was, I'll put my camera on actually while I do this. Right, I'll come and see you. Rarely spend any time with you people. Hello there, by the way. Yeah, I took her to our first ever cricket match, which was that Test match. We actually came to the SCG on the wrong day. We came on the 1st of January. And for where is everybody? Because it was actually on the 2nd of January. We came to the game. We sat in. We, like you, watched that game. And Australia, smote it about 3:30 for about 7. When they were rattling along.
They were smashing it, mate.
They were smashing on about. And I thought, oh, here we go. And so we actually left the stadium the over before you bowled that.
Mate, you're not the only one. Right, listen this. My whole family was out there. My whole family had come out. My sister, my dad, my missus, my kids, and they all left because we had this party. No one saw it. No one saw me after it. They're all gone. In fact, when I look around now, they had the Barmy Hill there, which all the Barmy Army, they were going nowhere. They weren't going on a private yacht, were they? They were just going to the nearest boozer on the way back to their bed and breakfast, whatever it is. But most people in the stands had left. So many people have come to me and said, oh, I missed the hat trick, but I've got a ticket. Can you sign it? And honestly, so many people had left because it was about 6 o'clock, wasn't it? I think it was like 5:45. And we was really late that day because they were smashing it absolutely everywhere. It was a flat pitch, that was flat. And like I said, with the new ball, it just started to swing. And I went, oh, hang on a minute here. I'm in it. And I just found that burst of energy like you do when the ball starts to swing. And then I was in the game.
Yeah, I found out about 11:30 that night. We've been in a restaurant, and I turned the TV on just to see the highlights, and it said amazing scenes at Sydney as Darren Gough takes an England hat trick. I was like, what the fuck? And that was that. That was that. Sad but true.
Oh, we feel for you.
Yeah, never mind, mate.
Right, listen, that was a great story anyway. Right, just quickly, before we get to the audience questions here, the members' questions, obviously we can't stop without just enjoying a bit of Strictly. And I picked on this particular dance, which you said is one of your worst, but I just like the end. I just like the end of it. So just watch a little bit of it, and I'll turn it up a little bit so you can hear the music. I think the end is a classic. Here we go.
Oh dear.
I mean, really? What? Bruce thinks you're dying here. He thinks you're dead. You died. He comes to help you up.
Yeah, Bruce.
We have to just see that in replay again. So just watch that. Talk us through this.
Well, listen. Growing up, I used to love rock and roll, just hardcore rock and roll, but I just added that little bit in, which was the worm. It became famous in like body popping and all that stuff. And if I could do one move when I was younger, it was that. So I just somehow got it into Strictly. But that was amazing. That was the hardest dance I ever did on the show. I hated it. I hated the whole preparation. I was so busy that week. I hardly had any practice time. Lilia was at the British Championships that week in Blackpool. So we literally had hardly any time. And I thought, I'm going out. And the worst thing about that, which is a collector's item, I've got a tie on. You don't often see me in a shirt and tie. I'm an hoodie and jeans man or a 80s taquini. You know what I mean? I'm not into all that shirt and tie lark. So that's a rare shot of me, actually, in a shirt and tie.
Were you nervous, Goughy, doing it? I mean, doing Strictly. Was it in a way that? So, I mean, I think it was Swanee who said it was like one of the most nerve-wracking things he's ever done. Was that your experience as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It was frightening. I literally, I was on a stag do in Port Banús when I got asked to do it. Right, I've been asked to do another show, which is quite famous.
Stag do in Port Banús.
I was on a stag do, mate. It was unbelievable.
That's where people from Barnsley go, isn't it?
Yeah. So I was there. I'd had a few drinks and I got this phone call. It literally was. I'd just pulled out of Pakistan, so I wasn't going to Pakistan because I want to spend more time with my family. So. Because like I said, I was split up at that time, wasn't I? So I wanted to spend some more time at home. So literally, I was there for 3 days. As soon as I pulled out, I went on the do, and I thought it was good to get away out of the country for a few days. Then I got asked to do a show, which is a popular show, and I thought that's not for me because I'm scared of everything. Then I got asked to do a show called Celebrity Love Island. Back then in 2005 was the first version of it. And Callum Best was on it and all them. And I thought, I ain't got a body like that, so there's no way I'm going on that show. Love Island. That was the first one years ago, 2005. And then they asked me to do Strictly. And my original words were, it began with F and finished with F. And then I rung my mum to tell her. And my mum loves dancing. She used to be a ballet dancer many, many years ago when she was 18, 19, 20. And she persuaded me to do it. She says, listen, love, you'll be out in week 1. She goes, just do it. You'll get a good profile and you get a few quid for it. She said, just do it. So I did. I ended up doing it and ended up winning it, which was ridiculous. But the nerves, honestly, guys, I can't explain it. I'm not someone who really gets nervous, even when I play cricket. But before a live show, they count you down. They count you down, guys, honestly, from 10. And my hands were dripping. Were literally dripping. I thought, I'm never going to be able to hold it because you have to do a lot of, and you're holding each other's hand and spinning around. I was literally just sweat coming off my hand, and I'm not someone who sweats a lot. And I just thought, this is ridiculous. I ended up putting that bat stuff on. Do you know what you put on to keep your hands dry? The batting, I used to take that with me because I was so nervous. But then once the music started and your dance started, you literally was like playing cricket again, professional cricket. You were such in a zone, and you had all those people right next to you. Right in the, I had Flintoff come and watch me. I had them all come and watch me, and it was so intimidating. But I never even saw them. because I was so.
Yeah, and that's, I think that's why sportsmen have done well in that, because they're used to a crowd, aren't they? Whereas a lot of sort of soap actors and people like that who just play TV people,
they aren't behind the camera
crowd at all, are they? And so they freak out when there's a lot of people. Just quickly before we finish on the sort of your entertainment, you were telling us before we came on air here about your love of comedy and that picture of Charlie Chaplin behind you. Where does that come from?
Well, like I said, growing up, mainly being around my grandparents and watching stuff like Charlie Chaplin, Harold Lloyd, Norman Wisdom. I used to love that as well. I absolutely love Norman Wisdom. Mr. Grimsdale! I used to love all that. And then, like, say, Laurel and Hardy, stuff like that. Still fascinated by that. And my dad still loves it. Every time my dad comes here, I haven't seen my dad for a year, but when he comes down here, he loves Laurel and Hardy, and I've got one of them in the garage. I've got an Elvis. I've got a Winston Churchill. I've got Chaplin, who's the only thing up in here. If you come in this house, you wouldn't even know I played cricket. There's nothing here real. There's the hat-trick thing I've got over there, and that's the only thing that represents...
Swivel your camera around and show us that then.
Well, I don't know if I can do it here. I've got... That's the hat-trick, the print, and that's about it. There's a picture of Sevi here. I've got my Strictly Come Dancing trophy. I'll get you that one sec. Here it is.
Strictly Come, brilliant. It's quite big, isn't it? Yeah, it's quite big.
But it's brilliant because when people come to the house, they don't want to talk about you cricket and how many caps you've got. They want to talk about winning Strictly. They want to take a picture with the Strictly Come Dancing trophy. And I've got 3 of them because I won it 3 times. I won the main show, the Christmas show.
I was at the Christmas show.
And Champion of Champions.
Yeah, I came to the Christmas show. That's now, that's all changed now. They don't do it there anymore. The TV centre turned it into a restaurant and coffee house.
So did you go to the show when I danced in the red suit?
It was the Christmas special after you'd won.
I gave it to Ogard. I bought that. I danced to. I got 10.
Yeah, you got a 40. Yeah.
And I gave that to Matthew Ogard in his benefit year. That suit. Brilliant. That suit. It'd fit him now, the Oggy. It'd be perfect fit.
Yeah, it would.
You had to use braces. You had to use braces to keep him up the trousers. But with Oggy, he wouldn't need the braces, would he?
Listen, we better go to the questions, Simon, haven't we? Otherwise, we're going to be here all night. I know it's past your bedtime already.
It's not that bad. It's only 10 to 10.
Right, he always leaves, Goffy. He always leaves early because he's got to go do yoga or something, or read his wife a bedtime story.
We've got Mark. Hello, Mark. What's your question?
Hello, evening, gentlemen. Evening, Darren.
Hi, Mark.
Evening, mate.
My question is, who's your favourite wicket, firstly, and who was one person, player who you'd like to add as a wicket?
Who I would have liked to have had. My favourite wicket, I would say, was my first Ashes wicket, David Boone. I bowled him one that nipped back. I didn't mean to bowl that either. Meant to be an outswing, it nipped back, hit the wrong seam at the wrong angle and nipped back. Which a lot of fast bowlers, if they're honest, they will tell you they don't mean to bowl a lot of them deliveries. They're looking to shape it away from the right-hander. One time the seam don't get it right, nips back. David Boone left it to Brisbane, and I knocked his poles out. Because growing up and watching cricketers when I was a teenager in the 80s, some absolute legends of the game, whether the English guys, West Indians, Australians, and Booney was an absolute diamond cricketer. And whenever I played any test match, I picked a player from the opposition. It didn't have to be the best player. I just picked a player that I was determined I was going to get out that day. Didn't always happen, but when it did happen, I celebrated more than I normally would. And that day, David Boone for me was the wicket that meant the world to me. It was my first Ashes wicket, and it was an absolute beauty. Yeah. So that was fantastic. Who would I have liked to have got? Tendulkar in a test match. I got him out in 1 day, but I never played against India. You know that. I never played against India in a test match.
Good.
I played most of my tests against the best teams in the world at the time. Look at the ratio. I played against Australia, I think 20 odd times. South Africa must have been 15 times or something. out of my 57 or 50, I don't even know how many caps I got, 58 or they get 58 or 59. I don't even know. But a lot of them were against Australia and South Africa.
Okay, great.
So Tendulkar would have been your
Tendulkar in
number
test
one.
matches. Yeah,
Hey,
got it out in one day.
Goffy, the fact that you don't even know how many times you play for England doesn't bode very well for the quiz coming up in about 10 or 15 minutes' time. But
Luckily,
anyway,
that is not one of the questions.
we'll see how you get on. Who we got next, Norts? Who's
Oh, you ain't going to believe it, but it's actually me again, right?
Oh, is it?
I never
Okay.
come on this show, not on twice in one night. I'm doing this because I've been asked to ask a question by my sister, who's at this club, but she's too shy to
That's
come
what they
on.
all say. That's
No,
what
she's
they all
too
say.
shy
It's
to
all-
come on.
It's for my son.
No, she's here, she's listening. She's too shy to come on. She's got Tony Blair hair at the moment, and she doesn't want to show it to the world, right? Anyway, my question to you, Darren, from my sister is she'd like to know more about what you talked about a little bit earlier, the actual rhino, the wild in care stuff,
Yeah.
because she is someone who also has sponsored that for years. She'd like to know how you got involved with it, and like what's the kind of process of that, and what do you actually do as part of your role as an ambassador, I believe.
Well, first of all, my wife does more than me, as in we've always done, since I finished, always done an event for charity. I've raised over £1 million now from my events, me and my wife, and it used to be for brain tumour. I did it for a young boy called Alex Bolt. He wrote me a letter once and asked for a signed picture. And in the letter, he said basically he's going through his exams. He loves cricket. I was his favourite cricketer. And he literally he said he had a brain tumour. He didn't say he was dying, but he said he had a brain tumour. So he left his number, and it was, I literally, my missus read the letter, and I decided I'm not going to send him a photo. So I rang him, and his mum answered, because he obviously lived at home. He was only 15. So what started with speaking to him and then getting in my car and driving to his house, which was in Kent. And then I decided, they said they want to do a little golf day and they were looking to raise £5,000. So me and my wife put on a golf day and we raised £60,000 the first year. And we ended up raising about 500,000 over 4 years. 2 of those years he wasn't with us, sadly. He lost his battle with a brain tumour. We obviously supported the Alan Eggleston during that period because I raised money for the Brain Tumour Trust. And then they said the family wanted to move on and stop doing it. So I didn't do anything for a year. And then I started watching programs about wildlife. My nickname is Rhino. I adopted a rhino when I was in the ICC tournament in Kenya. You might know more than me, you guys. Was it 97 or something? We had an ICC tournament in Kenya, something like that.
Yeah.
And I adopted a rhino there called Magnum. And in my benefit year, obviously, it was the year of the rhino, which was my benefit year. So I've always had a love of the animal. And people say I'm built like one. I haven't got the big arm, though, unfortunately. And then my wife was watching a program, saw Care for a while. She went and volunteered. I went out again the same year and volunteered and went there and saw everything they did. And I was blown away, mate. I was heartbroken and blown away just to be there and helping. And my wife basically heads it all up now. She's like the British over here, the English spokesperson for the charity. And I've got involved and we've started doing dinners, which we've not been able to do because of obviously everything that's happened in the last 12 months. We put on a golf day in between lockdowns, socially distancing, had to be staggered tea times. Nobody could stay after, but we still raised 70-odd thousand this year, which was a massive event. And then I came up with this stupid idea about wine. I don't know why, but it's like I say, it started, it's gone really, really well, and it tastes absolutely fantastic. And it's brilliant what they've done for us. And we've got an event at my golf club, which is Centurion Club in St Albans in September. Then we got a big dinner, which we've cancelled 4 times now because of COVID, and it's going to be next March at the Grove. So I love working for Care for Wild, an ambassador. I went out there not last year, because again, COVID. The year before, I went 4 times. I think, KP does a little bit with them as well. His charity is a business called Sarai, which is his business, that raises money as a business, and then he donates to charities around wildlife and conservation. So we do a lot of things together, slightly different angles. Mine's not a business, mine's working for the charity, but he does amazing. What he's done through his profile and his online engagement is absolutely amazing. He's obviously got a huge following, hasn't he, in India and in Asia, because he spends most of his life there now. And it's great, but me and him are best mates, but we both support the charity, and it's not planned. It purely is off our own backs for different reasons.
Nice. Winos for rhinos. You can have that one. You can have that one.
Rhinos, yeah. We like that. Rhinos for rhinos, yeah.
Winos for rhinos. Very good. Thanks, Thoughts. Brilliant.
Oh, now he's got the technical problem of just having been in the club himself. He's got to line up the next person. Oh, well done. Well done, Norts. We've got Martin. Hello, Martin.
Hi there, guys. Thanks, Darren. I just got to make sure I get the question right. That's all. Two parts, really. First of all, just how annoying is it working with Adrian Durham?
Yeah.
And secondly, as a commentator yourself and a pundit, how do you sort of see the coverage by Talk Sport of cricket compared to, say, Test Match Special?
Well, do you know something? Working with Adrian Durham, it's an experience every day, because I never know what he's going to say. And this is honest truth, right? The biggest question I get asked is wherever I go, is Adrian Durham in real life, right? That's the first question I get asked. He's actually a lovely bloke. We do not plan our show, and that's honest truth. I literally, when I go into work, I get into work every day about 1:45. We have a meeting at 2:30, which lasts half an hour. So basically, we get a structure to the show. So basically, we mention, during the morning, we text each other about things that are happening in the sport world, and we try to create a show. So the way we create a show is, but say, like today was Harry Kane come out and did a press conference, and he basically was a big imp, but he was ready to move, right? I don't know what he thinks about that, and that's the honest truth, because if I did, it would spoil the show for me. So I always prefer not to have any engagement with him once we decide the order of the show, which we have to do, obviously, because we need a little bit of sound bites here and there. And then I don't see him until I walk in the studio at 4:00. We sit probably 30 yards away from each other. We have no engagement until I get on air at 4:00 till 7.
It is a good chemistry.
Yeah, he's great, and he's taught me a lot over the years. Danny Kelly has been brilliant for me when I first started. So there's some good guys to work with, and we're all different. We are all different on TalkSport. Now, the commentary is a difficult one, right? Because I've always listened to BBC. I love BBC, right? Everybody has. We've all grown up with it. It's been part of my life for many, many years. And I still love listening to it. But it's also a pleasure to get the opportunity to commentate on England games, because for me, I love watching cricket. I love being part of it, whether I be working for TalkSport, BBC, or whatever. So to be part of a team that's totally different, it is totally different to BBC, right? And I get how we get a lot of stick because it's not BBC, it's not the voices they're used to listening all the time, which I'm used to listening all the time, which people forget, which is great. And they've done a great job for many, many years. But we also do a good job, and we've won awards, and we're different. We're totally different. But my belief, and it always has been my belief, but there's a platform for both of them to do it. And for the people that like listening to BBC and the way they go about their commentary, they should be able to listen to that. And for where we go about our commentary, there should be a platform for us to be able to do that and people to listen to us. And that's the way it should be. But for some reason, it's not. It has to be exclusive rights and all that stuff. But I think there's a platform for BBC and TalkSport to both commentate on games and do it different, because we are different. We do.
You mean totally at the same? You mean at the same game?
Why not? Why not?
In Australia,
they have 4.
Yeah.
Australia, they have sometimes 3 or 4 commentators.
Yeah, last time I was there, it was 3, I think. 3 different radio stations. Yeah,
that's my honest opinion.
Yeah.
I won't say that if TalkSport asked me, but my honest opinion is, but it should be both platforms who are both very good at what they do. They do it totally different. BBC has been part of all our lives for many, many years, and it's a great listen. But also, we've had guys who work at Test Match Special, or, you know what I mean, who say we've got great coverage. So we all appreciate what we all do.
Also, I think actually it's good having a bit of competition, isn't it? I mean, you know, you keep sharp, you listen to the other person, get ideas from them. I think it's healthy competition, surely.
It is, but my honest opinion is, but it should be, both platforms should be able to do a series. But for some reason, it doesn't seem to be the way forward in England. In Australia, as you said, three different platforms all commentate on the Test match. Why can't we do that here? And BBC has got a loyal following, and it has done for many, many years. And I get it, because people in radio, we all work in radio, we know what it's like. They like repetition. They like waking up every morning and listening to the same person commentating, listen to the same person on radio, same person. And it becomes an habit over many, many years. Then it becomes your children's habits. And that's the way it works. And we're all the same. We're all the same. We love habits, and we love the same person listening every single year. So when you get a change, you've had BBC all summer, and then suddenly you've got me shouting at the radio, doing commentary, or Steve Armisen, or someone like that, KP. It's like, well, where's all the BBC guys gone? And we get the criticism for it. You know, we're just doing our job. We love commentating on cricket. It's a great opportunity.
The interesting thing about that, Goughy, is that, I mean, you think Steve Harmison, KP, Neil Manthorpe, probably others as well, Butch.
Mark Nicholas.
Not so much Mark Nicholas, but they've all done BBC radio in the past. You know,
yeah, of course they have. Yeah, Manners. I remember me. Like I say, when I was playing, Manthorpe was doing it all the time, wasn't he? I remember Manners definitely doing BBC. So, like I say, all these guys have all had a go at it, and they just want to work. They just want to work in cricket, and they'll work where they can get work. If BBC offered him a contract for next summer, they'd probably do it, wouldn't they? Because we're all freelance. Yeah. We're all self-employed as guys, so we're all available.
Good pitch for a job there, Goughy. Anyway, here's Umar. What have you got for us tonight?
Hi, Umar.
Hello.
Hi, Goughy. I'm actually from Barnsley myself. I was born there, and meeting you as a 9-year-old in the Metrodome was one of the key factors that got me into cricket all those years ago. I was lucky enough to meet yourself, Geoffrey Boycott, and Dickie Bird as a young lad. So you three inspired me. Who was your inspiration as a young lad?
Oh, wow. Do you know, where I'm from, let's say you know Barnsley, I'm from Montbretton, and football's my life, mate. Always has been. Cricket, people don't realise this. You know, I'd never been to a first-class cricket match until I played it. That is ridiculous. And I never watched a first-class cricket match growing up. Never went to one. Never understood the importance of Yorkshire, what it meant as cricket. For me, growing up was all about playing for Barnsley at football. And that was my life. I adored that team. I can name the old team when I was watching it. From the goalie, Pierce, to the captain, Phil Chambers, to Joe Joyce, to Mick McCarthy, Ian Evans, you know what I mean, Ray McHale, Ronnie Glavin, Ian Banks, Riley, Trevor Aylott. I can go through the old team, mate. And that I was obsessed, and I still am obsessed with that team growing up, because to me, that meant the world. I wanted to be part of that. And football was my life. But in 81, 3 people came into my life in sport in general. Ian Botham, obviously something special on that, because I believe as a child, when you're 11, 9, 10, 11, 12, that's when things grab you, don't they? Things grab you, organisations grab you, whether it be a football team or whatever. If it's not someone your dad's made you support, right? So obviously I'm a Barnsley, obsessed by where I'm from, Barnsley, and I still get criticism because I don't live there now, but I'm not a Barnsley fan. I will always be a Barnsley fan, mate. It runs through my blood. But in 81, Sevi Ballesteros, one of my heroes, there's a picture of Sevi Ballesteros in this room. Sevi is a sporting hero of mine. Ian Botham, absolute god, 81, the way he went about his game. And Glenn Hoddle, playing for Tottenham in 81, with the long hair, curly hair, and the skills, the silky skills, the shirt out and the white top with the cockerel in the middle and the blue shorts. Those 3 guys grabbed me in sport and inspired me all the way through to making it. But cricket was never something I thought I'd be. I couldn't get in Yorkshire schools. I wasn't good enough. They said I wasn't good enough. I think it was mainly from the school I went to, which wasn't probably the best. Lungwood, mate. You know, private comprehensive in Lungwood. You're laughing at it, but I'm from Lungwood originally. My grandparents. So Harold Avenue in Lungwood, which is one of the roughest places in Barnsley. Yeah, it's one of the roughest places. And then we ended up upmarket to Montbretton. But so football didn't work out, and I became a cricketer, which I would say is the right choice. Let's be honest about it. I've had a great life as a cricket player, but those three guys, Ballesteros, Faldo a little bit, obviously the English factor, but Botham and Hoddle, those guys inspire me still to this moment. Seve Ballesteros, picture there. Ian Botham, every time I see him, I just have to pinch myself, although I never tell him that. And Glenn Hoddle, I managed to play golf with Glenn Hoddle for my Care for Wild charity event this last lockdown, just before lockdown, the second one. And can you believe it? It pissed it down from the third hole, and we had to cancel it. He didn't want to play in the rain, so they stopped. I carried on, but he stopped Glenn. And oh my God, for 3 holes, I couldn't speak to him because it's like even now, and I'm 50, and Glenn Hoddle's like still has that effect on me. Botham, Hoddle, and Ballesteros. Sadly, Ballesteros is not here, but he still has an effect on me every single day because I stare at him every time I look at my computer.
Did you ever play with Beefy at all?
Yeah, I played against him. Durham, I think.
Did
you play?
Him? You never played. Yeah, I played against you for Durham. I'm just wondering if you ever played with him.
No, I never played with him. Would have loved to. Ian Botham attacked Duncan Fernley. And that's one of the reasons I only signed for Duncan Fernley for a short period of my cricketing career because Ian Botham used them. I had offers, other companies, a lot better contracts, but I signed for Fernley purely because Ian Botham had used them. So I just wanted to use the bats he'd used. It's mad. Things you do in your life, it's just mad, isn't it?
Well, there we are. Paul.
Good evening, Paul.
Evening, guys. Evening. Hi, guys, and hi, Darren. Pleasure to have you with us. And congrats on the new gig with the PCA, by the way, which I think broke yesterday. I think everybody on this group was all sort of very much positive reaction to that. So
well, yeah, I mean, it's good, isn't it? I mean, the PCA. I am where I am. I think when it comes to that, and I think that's why they wanted me. They wanted to be me. They want me to be myself. And a lot of people, a couple have commented, if I'd have turned up to do that launch in a shirt and tie, they'd have said, well, who's that? So I turned up as I am, as me, as, you know what I mean? I had a hoodie on and a pair of jeans and some trainers. That is me. That's what they're getting. They're going to get someone who's opinionated, who's passionate, who will say things as it is and hopefully help people that need it moving forward and give them advice. I've been through a lot of good things and a lot of bad things in my life. I've had 2 friends who have committed suicide in the last 3 years. Really? And I'm talking close friends, right? I'm talking my best man. That was only 3 months ago. So Jesus. I know how it feels and how their family feels. So what I've been through as an individual, as a cricketer, with heartbreak, injuries, success, and then that transformation from being a cricketer to doing something other than professional cricket. So I think I've got a lot to offer, and I'm
fighting back from adversity, actually, as well. I mean, fighting back from injuries and things like that, and reinventing yourself as well.
And reinventing yourself, I think it's a big thing because I'm not someone who's been stuck in that cricket bubble my whole life. I left the cricket bubble for 12 years, and sometimes one criticism I've got some cricket boys and counties, but they promote within and they're never experiencing anything else. They come straight from playing to captaining to coaching and they're there their whole life. And they're stuck in that bubble and sometimes they can't see what's in front of them. And I see it so many times at so many counties. And you only see that when you leave. I am so pleased. In a way, I left Yorkshire, many years ago. It broke my heart when I left, and I had to leave. I needed something fresh at that time. I was on the verge, my injuries or whatever. I needed a challenge, and I left. And I'm so glad now when I look back that I left and experienced another county. Oh my God, it's just like a different world. Going to a different county is totally different. And then
leaving Yorkshire's leaving a different world.
I promise you guys, it is. I mean, you know what it's like, mate. You've played for different counties. Everybody's different. And sometimes some people, especially within cricket, they daren't leave. That they go from playing for a county to coaching a county to director of cricket at a county to committee to a county, and they think they run the show. It's not like that in real life, guys. Go and experience something else. Go and see what a real officer's like. Go and see everything you have to deal with on a daily basis. Go and commute on the train to tubes and know what real life's about. They don't experience it. They do not experience it. Anyway, what's your question? I'm holding.
I'm going to say, yeah. That wasn't even my question. Actually, funny enough, I've just accepted a new job myself today after 9.5 years somewhere. But anyway, that's by the by.
Well done,
I completely appreciate what you're saying. So my question was actually, I've been watching Test matches in England for about 30 years, and one of my favourite games I've ever been to is it was Headingley '98 against South Africa on the.
Hey, by the way, have we got a stopwatch on this question?
Yeah, we have actually. So you interrupted me now, Simon. So I'm going to restart it, but I'll be quick as I can. So '98 Headingley. Fourth afternoon, you, Gus and Corky setting up the victory, and then fifth morning I think you finished it off. Brilliant experience. I think one of the subplots from that game surfaced a few years later was the Javed Akhtar sort of controversy that he was on the payroll of an Indian bookmaker. There's a few dodgy LBW decisions I think went your way.
Over, they were all out
in that last game, and kind of on a similar line. Obviously, you were quite heavily involved in the game in Centurion. I think a couple of years later, I think you hit the winning.
I can't
runs.
remember that one though. I was pissed up on that one.
Right. Okay. So I guess the question was whether those kind of controversies, looking back on your career, whether they taint the sort of sense of achievement at all, or it's in the scorebook, it happened, and it was what it was, or do you kind of is there a sense of uneasiness about those kind of controversies that happened?
The '98 Headingley was such an unbelievable moment. My own Test match. We were all ill that day. I think Fraser got a bad back. I'd been up all night, been sick. I played in that game. Atherton didn't make the field. We went out. We didn't warm up on that last day. We literally went out at 10 to 11, and it was full, wasn't it, Headingley? It was absolutely. We couldn't believe it. We didn't know that with that many people in. None of us had warmed up. We were all ill. I'd literally been up all night, been sick all night.
Is that because you've been to Planet Earth in Leeds on the revolving dance floor?
Yeah, majestic. Yeah. We'd all literally we'd all had something. We don't know what. We'd all obviously eaten the same food, and we all came down with this sickness. And all I remember is winning that game, and the Nintini one. If I still go and watch that now, and I watch it back, and I've watched that a few times since, I still think it's out. If that was, I know you're going to say no, but if you have DRS, if umpire gives that out and it goes to DRS, it's still out. It's clipping leg. So on DRS, all these guys now are getting wickets left, right, and centre DRS. If the umpire gives it out, it stays with the umpire's decision. So that's the way I look at it now. I look at it from that angle. And it's out.
I was thinking of was it Jerry Liebenberg that hit the cover off it into his pads, and that was given LBW. Was
that off me?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Listen, you get good ones, you get bad ones.
Yeah, I know.
Dickie Bird give me. I'd love to. I wish we had a clip of this. I bowled first ball of a Test match at Lord's, my favourite place to play Test cricket. First ball, didn't swing, straight ball, hitting middle stump. First ball of the Test match against West Indies Lords. Go find it. It wasn't in anything.
2000.
Wasn't it in anything except middle, halfway up. Dickie Bird give it not out. And he purely give it not out because Dickie Bird used to live on giving them not out, right? He never give anything out. Can you imagine him now with this DRS? Oh, he'd be an absolute dither. What would he do? Because his way and why he was respected, it was a great umpire, great bloke. And he still is a great bloke. But he'd be absolutely flustered to hell now with this DRS because he'd have to give them out because he if he had any slight doubt in his head, he used to say, "Not out, not out." He wasn't like Ray Julian, who used to say, "That's close enough, yeah, I'll Peter Willie." He'd give it not out. So all the overseas players and all the foreign teams that came loved Dickie Bird because he gave everything not out. But all the English players couldn't do with him because he never gave a bleeding decision. So that was that. And the other one was Centurion, right? Centurion, and I know we joke about it now, we can, but we were all on the lash because it rained. First day, I had 2 for 11 overnight after the first day. I bowled beautifully, swing it both ways, a couple of wickets, got Kirsten and someone else out. It rained then, didn't it? From tea on day 1, rain day 2, rain day 3, rain day 4. We got back to the hotel day 4. Duncan Fletcher says, right, we're all out tonight. He said, I want you to go out, get everything out of your system. We've got a 1-day game starting in 4 days. I want you to have 2 days off now because you're not going to play in the test match tomorrow. And then I want us to get early nets in for the 1-dayers. This was honest truth. So we all went out, as you do, and get absolutely, we're at this restaurant, the steak restaurant, right there in Joburg, next to the hotel. And we all gets in there, we're all having a few drinks. You go back to the hotel bar, having a few more. And at 12 o'clock, most people went to bed. Unfortunately for me, I got stuck with Philip Tufnell and Mark Butcher who weren't playing. And then Lee Westwood, a young Lee Westwood, came and joined us, and Ian Woosnam. They were playing in the South African Open. So at 4 o'clock, I actually was still there at 4 a.m., still drinking with Lee Westwood and Ian Woosnam. So I can't even remember who it was. Someone came downstairs and said to me, tapped me on the shoulder and were laughing. It wasn't Duncan, but I can't remember who it was. He said, I think you better go to bed. He said, it stopped raining. I said, what do you mean it stopped raining? So I went to bed, had a shower, had about half-hour kip, came down the next morning, and we gets to the ground. They've got bleeding helicopters going, haven't they? They've got helicopters drying the pitch out. And I'm trying to make myself sick, so I'm thinking, I've got a bowl. And that was one of the most evil things that Nasser Hussain ever did to me. He made me bowl 11 overs on the bounce when he knows I'd hardly slept. I'd had one too many. And I went for 60 more runs that morning. I didn't get a wicket, and then it was 2 for 70 odd. They declared, and we chased it down. But what people don't realise, he made me put my pads on, and I was not night watchman, but I was the pinch hitter. I was going to bat at 3 against Donald Haywood, Nancy Haywood. I said, is he having a laugh? You were never doing it, but he made me put my pads on, and I ended up going in, didn't I, and being there at the end when we won the game. So, but that's the honest truth. Nasser made me have my pads on the whole day, and he bowled me 11 overs on the bounce, and I got slapped everybody by Klusner and Boucher. I still can't forgive him for that, and I love Nasser. He was my best captain by a mile, but I never forgive him for that. He sent my average over 30 for the tour. I was gutted.
Brilliant. Thanks, Goughy. Thanks.
Great. Thanks very much.
You bargained for there, Paul, didn't you? Anyway.
Thanks very much, Paul. What are we going to do now? Are we going to go to the quiz? Or
have we got any more notes? One more question, maybe, or not?
Yeah, we have got a couple more, but do you like one sent in? Yes?
Yeah, let's have one in.
Okay, here comes.
What, is this a readout?
No, they're coming in there.
Okay, it's Will.
Hi, Will.
Simon, hello, Goughy.
Well, good to see you. You're going to have to be fairly brief.
No.
Getting a bit late
fine.
here.
Goughy, I've got 2 questions here for you. My first one is, what is the best piece of advice that you were given as a young cricketer? And also, my second one has kind of technically already been answered, but by one of the guys earlier on. But I'm going to ask my kind of second part of it. It's on the how do you think the Ashes is going to go this winter? Obviously, considering with how kind of fragile our batting lineup is.
Well, I'll answer the Ashes one to start with. I think we realistically have to find someone who's going to bat at 3. I've no idea who's going to go there, if I'm honest. I know a lot of people laugh at it, but I've always had the impression for me that Vince should open the batting for England. I've always thought that. I don't know why. It's just a feeling. But I've always thought.
And he's also got an Ashes 100 as well. Sorry.
I don't know. I've always had this thing about him, which yes, it frustrates the hell out of me. He keeps nicking off the wide balls. But there's something about him, especially in Australian conditions, where I think he could perform. And I think opening batting might be the best place for him. The 3 situation obviously is ongoing. That's going to be sorted. Who's going to bat 3? I think our bowlers are good enough. I'm worried about the spin department. Where do we go with that? I know Don Best bowled really well at Sussex last week, from all accounts, from speaking to people, which was good. But realistically, Moeen Ali's our best spinner. I don't think he's as good as he used to be. I think he's on the slight down slope now with his bowling, but I still think he's our best spinner, which is probably is it a concern? And is nowhere near as good as Swan was. So as I look at it now, bowlers, I think we'll be able to cope in the seam department. We've got so many options.
Yeah.
Batting is a concern against pace and against quality spin.
Well, it's always been our problem since we've, obviously last time.
That's why I pick players who hit the ball on the top of the bounce. Vince can do that. Vince plays well. Zach Crawley, I think, will get runs. I think Dom Sibley, believe it or not, you might surprise you this. I think Dom Sibley will get runs in Australia. I think he's better suited to playing in those conditions than he is anywhere else. I think he'll do well in Australia if he's still in the team by then, because I think he's suited to play on those sort of pitches at that pace and the bounce, the way he plays. I think he'll be suited to those conditions as well as Zach Crawley as well. So we have got some talent, and obviously Joe Root speaks for himself, and Ben Stokes, fantastic players, 2 of the greatest. So we've got good players. If they get on a roll, the confidence is high. You never know, so that could be good. The best bit of advice really has always been Steve Oldham. I cannot praise him high enough. Without him, I wouldn't have achieved the things I've achieved in my life. And I think if you speak to most bowlers from my era, Steve Oldham, how he's never, ever been involved with England at the highest level as a coach, I cannot get my breath. That guy has produced more fast bowlers than any coach has ever produced. Just look at the amount of bowlers he's produced over the years. As Yorkshire, he put everything in place back in the day, the academy, the second team, having a team in the Yorkshire League. He set that up, and how he has never ever been involved at the highest level, I honestly cannot get my breath.
What does he say though? What's his piece of advice?
Just the way he is, and I think that's probably gone against him. He's too honest. I remember rocking up from Football World. My first day at Yorkshire, I walked in earring. I had an earring in and long hair, Glenn Hoddle. And I walked in for my first day. And he literally said to me at Headingley, he said, "Off you go, son." I said, "What do you mean off I go?" My first day. He says, "There's a barber's up in Headingley. Come back when it's cut so you can just see the bottom inch when you put your cap on. And while you're up there, take that earring out and don't come back here till it's taken out." I said, "I can't take this earring out, mate. This is everything to me." And I literally had to go as a young 18-year-old who thought he knew everything, because I came from a football world. I was pretty confident in my ability. And I had to have my hair cut. I'd never had it cut short. I was like, that, what is going on? And I had to take my earring out before my first day. So that, for me, is the best bit of advice. He literally, he taught me discipline in by literally just kicking me out. Come back when you've had your hair cut and take that earring out. It wouldn't work now. You can't do that now. You have to be a bit more diplomatic. But he was like a father figure. So for me, he was like someone who, I know he liked me, but he kept me in line. And I think that's why I like Nasser. Not many people do, but that's why I like Nasser. He knew he couldn't control me because I give him a clip round his ear hole. But he wasn't afraid to try and control me. And I respected that. And I think people who have been like that to me in my life, I kind of look up to them. I look up to Steve Oldham, still do. And I look up to Nasser. And I always will. Every time I speak to Nasser, I still call him captain. Can you believe that? And I played under quite a few players with England and Yorkshire and wherever it may be. But I only call one person captain, and that's Nasser. And there's a reason for that, because I respect him. You know what I mean? It's just the way he dealt with it. Like I said, there's times I wanted to kill him, but I couldn't, because he was nice. He helped me. He made me realise he knew how to wind me up. If he wanted me to bowl fast, he knew what to say to me. He knew how to wind me up. He used to say, but somebody else was bowling quicker than me or whatever. He knew how to get the best out of me, and I admire that. And I see it now. I didn't see it when I was playing, but I see it now.
It's like yours and my relationship, Simon, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is. It probably is.
He's the dad. He's the father. I'm the child.
You're older than me, Yoswell. I got to keep you in check. You know, otherwise,
do you know, guys? I want
the rails.
I'd like to say this though, because you guys obviously have seen me play over the years, and the '90s England team was a disgrace, really, wasn't it? It wasn't the team were a disgrace, but everything about it, selection, there was no real. It wasn't really professional, and it wasn't done right. And you see the way the players are looked after now is brilliant, right? It's perfect. But when I look back on my career now, and one of my biggest disappointments, when I look at the 4 bowlers who I'd have liked to have played for throughout my career over a 20, 30 test match career, if we could have had 20, 30 test matches on the trot together, I look at myself and Caddick opening the bowling, and then I look at Dean Headley and Dominic Cork. I don't think I'm sure we didn't. We did not play together in one test match. That is my dream 4. My dream 4. If I take out Headley and put in Craig White, that'd be my dream 4, right? And we never ever played together. It's ridiculous. In the 90s, those 4 bowlers, Headley, Gough, Cork, and Caddick. Caddick didn't even get picked for the Ashes tour in 97. Was it 98? 98. He didn't even go. He didn't go. What is that about? I mean, the selection was all over the shop, and once central contracts come in, it was so much easier. Unfortunately for me, I had 1 year of it before I got injured. So I only had a year central contract. So I never felt the benefits of it, really.
Great stuff, Goughy.
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah, interesting.
Is it time? I think it's time for the quiz, isn't it?
Yeah, it's time for the quiz. It's time for the quiz.
It could be 2 out of 10. This.
Well,
no, it's not.
Our lowest ever was 4, so that's what you got to beat. We say that to everyone.
Let's have a look at the leaderboard, shall we?
This is our third instalment of the quiz. Cookie got 4, didn't he, before Christmas?
That's the leaderboard.
Wow.
We've done 3 lots of quizzes, and this is the 3rd term, if you like. So that's the scoreboard. That's the scores on the doors.
Gower. I would never have put Gower.
He was quite good, actually. He's bloody competitive, Gower.
Yeah, and so was Strauss as well. He was very competitive.
Strauss, who was in our previous.
Yeah, he's always been. I can tell you a good story about Strauss. When I first met him, before we went out to the West Indies, he was. I was only playing 1-day cricket then, and he came out. I thought he just worked for the ECB, which he obviously went on to do, but he was. I'm normally always the first there. I'm always early, right? So I turned up. Medha was there. Said hello to Medha. We're going out for the 1-days for the West Indies, 2004, I think it was. And there's this guy stood there. This bloke stood there. I thought he worked for the ECB because he was with Medha. And I just basically said hi to him. Didn't shake his hand or anything because I'd never met him. Never played against Strauss. I didn't know who he was. I'd always been with England. And he come up to me after about 20 minutes. He says, "Hi, I'm Andrew Strauss." I said, "Oh, sorry, mate. I thought you worked for the ECB." I don't think he's ever forgiven me for that. I genuinely thought he was just somebody who worked for the ECB. But we ended up being quite close on that trip because there were only 4 of us went out who were just 1-day players. And I ended up bowling at him. And I soon realised how good a player he was because he kept smacking me to all parts in St. Lucia. But go on, let's go.
Right, okay. Well, so this is called How Well Do I Know Myself? Or how well do you know yourself? And we have a bit of music to start with. And it's 10 questions. If you get the answer right, you get this. He's got it! And if you get the answer wrong, you get this.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get that.
So you've got 10 questions. No conferring, no phoning friends or asking the
I
audience.
won't do that.
So you've got 9 to beat. Starting now, Simon.
Right, question 1. In home tests, at which of the 6 venues you played at did you take most test wickets?
Lords.
He's got it!
Lords 39 was the most, Headingley 31, your home ground, and the Oval was the lowest with 8.
I hated the Oval. I always say every time. The 2 grounds I hated, well, Oval and Old Trafford. Old Trafford for a few reasons. Lancashire play there, and it just didn't suit me. Short, skinny bowler did not suit me at all. And I played on some flat pitches there. Now, I've seen some of the test matches since. It's been seaming all over. We used to play there. It used to didn't bounce above me eye. Ridiculous. And the Oval, dig it up.
Very good. 1 out of 1 anyway. 1 out of 1. Question 2. You took 229 test wickets. Which 2 batsmen did you dismiss the boat? Which 2 batsmen did you dismiss most?
Oh, Slater's 1.
Half a point. You got them both 8 times.
Ponting.
Ooh,
He's got it!
very good.
Really? That was
Michael
it.
Slater and Ricky Ponting, 2 out of 2.
Excellent. Right. Question 3. Who was your first class wicket?
Well, that was 89. It was against Middlesex, wasn't it?
It was.
Paul Doughton.
He's got it!
Very good.
Court side bottom.
You don't get an extra. You don't get any bonus marks. Stop showing off.
Going well, Goughy. Going
3
very
out
well.
of 3. So we've already beaten what you just said you were going to get. I played in that game as well, actually, but you didn't get me.
Yeah,
out.
you did. You did.
didn't
Norman
get me out,
Callan.
though.
Norman
Yeah.
Callan, Angus Fraser, Brownie,
Yeah.
Carr, Gattin. I got him out in that game.
Yeah. You did.
Downton opened the batting. Yeah, that's why I know. That's why I knew because he was such an odd place.
Ramps played in that game.
Yeah, Ramps. God, Ramps.
Yeah. Right. 3 out of 3. Question 4. Mark Greatbatch was your first test wicket. Who was your second?
Oh God, that's done me. Oh, right. So New Zealand, Mark Greatbatch opened the batting. Caught Grahamick, second slip, second wicket. I got 3 in the first innings. Did I? Second wicket. It's not Rutherford. No, can't be Rutherford. No, wasn't Rutherford. Wasn't Young. Wasn't Crow. Owen.
Who?
Owen.
Owen.
He's called Owen. He used to open the bowling. I'm thinking of tail ender. I've no idea.
Stephen Fleming.
I nearly said Fleming, but I thought I got him out in the second innings.
Oh, you might have done.
I got Owen out. Owen used to bowl. He's a bowler, fast bowler, quite a big set lad. Used to bowl. Quite stiff action.
Completely forgotten him. Right. Unfortunately, you lost your perfect spell there. 3 out of 4.
Fleming. Can you believe Fleming were playing that long ago?
Yeah. Stephen Fleming. Question 5. You played 17 tests against Australia. How many Ashes wickets did you take? Was it 60, 67, or 74?
Oh, dear me. God, that's an hard question. Let me work this out. Injured in the first one, 21.
Well, 17 tests.
42. That's in 10. Then another 20, 60. It's got to be 67.
67, 60, or 74.
67.
You've done yourself out of a few there, Goughy. 74 Ashes wickets. Yeah.
Wow. In only what, 20? How many?
17 tests.
tests.
Yeah. 17
Yeah.
tests. Yeah.
So that's 5 a test, isn't it?
74. Wow.
3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. Question 6. Which opening pair have taken most wickets in a series for England? Is it Anderson and Broad or Gough and Caddick? Which of those 2 opening pairs has taken most wickets for England in a series? You guys or Anderson and Broad?
Oh. Well, Gotham Caddick's got to be versus West Indies, surely, hasn't it?
How many did you take?
What did we get?
You don't have to say how many you took. You just
I reckon we got 30 odd between us, 38 between us or something like that.
But you don't have to say how many you got. It's just which pair.
No, I think
which pair holds the record? Anderson and Broad or Gough and Caddick?
It's got to come down to longevity. Broad and Anderson, surely, with the pictures they're playing on now, must have took more wickets than Gough and Caddick. If they hadn't, I'm going to text them straight after these.
Let me just clarify the question again. It's in a series. It's in one series. Who's taken the most wickets as a pair in one series? Anderson and Broad in one series, or Gough and Caddick in one series?
It's got to be Anderson and Broad. It surely has.
Wrong. Anderson and Broad, 44 wickets against India 2014. Gough and Caddick, 47 against the West Indies 2000.
Really? Wow. Wait till I get on the phone to Stuart Broad. He's getting it. If they don't beat that this summer, I'm going to nail them. It's one record we've got over Anderson and Broad.
3 out of 6.
Yeah, it's one record you haven't got though because you got it wrong. Anyway, never mind.
Question 7. Who scored more Test match ducks, you or Andy Caddick?
Oh, me.
Andy Caddick 19, Darren Gough 10. The answer is
Andy
Caddick.
19 ducks.
Got 19 ducks. Yeah,
That's amazing. Well, good. Yeah, honestly, you got 19.
I looked it up. I was quite surprised actually.
Yeah.
And do you know he averages less than you with the batting tests as well? He averages 10 and you average 12.
Mate, to be fair, I was at least 5 short of what I should have averaged. I mentally...
Weren't we all, mate?
No, but I literally was. If you look how many 50s I got first class, I was pretty decent. I wasn't bad at that level. I just mentally just went. It was a blowout.
Listen, anyway, you need to be concerned here. Your performance is waning here. You're 3 out of 7 now.
The thing is, Goughy, if you backed yourself, as you did throughout your career, if you'd backed yourself in the last 3 questions, I'd
have got them right. Yeah.
You'd have got them all right if you'd gone for yourself in the last 3 questions.
See, it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. All this bravado is all bullshit, really.
I should have got Fleming. I should have got that, but I thought it was the second innings I got him out. I should have got.
Anyway, question 8. This is a question with a slightly different tack to it. Why were Yorkshire members asked to pay a ransom for you? This question comes from one of our club members, actually.
I did a charity thing. I went into Armley Prison for some... I can't remember exactly what, but I was in Armley Prison. It was raising money for something, but I can't remember what. Is that the one?
Yeah, he's got it! I'll give you that. You were sort of fake arrested by some policemen and sent to jail, and the members then were told to pay a donation to get you out again. It was concocted by Chris Hassel, whose daughter Amanda is one of our members.
Mate, I went into prison. I thought it was a joke. They actually put me in a prison cell. I was in there for about 6 hours. I had to go and I had the uniform on. I went and played basketball with all the prisoners. And I thought it was just going to go to the police station and come back. I literally put me in Nick. They put me in there.
Well, you got that one right anyway. 4 out of 8. Well done.
All right. Question 9. You scored a 36 in the final of Strictly Come Dancing. What was your lowest score in the series and what was the dance?
Well, opening week, cha-cha-cha. How many judges? 4 judges were there. Yeah, 4 then we used to have. 4 judges, 6. Go on average, I would say 17.
I think we can give it one or two either side there, can't we?
Yeah, we'll give him that.
He's got it.
Yeah, the cha-cha-cha, and it was 19. So we'll give you
19.
Yeah, we'll give you 5 out of 9.
Right, final question. 5 out of 9. You've done all right in the end. You've sort of rescued yourself a bit. So this final question is a picture or video question, right? And what we want to know is what happened after this.
Wood. Well bowled. Excellent.
What happened next?
Well, Damien Martin was batting. It was obviously a quality Yorker again from a 35-year-old Gough. Shane Watson, non-striker. And I told him he could sleep in my bed tonight. And I did the old, the ghost.
He's got it! Yeah, we can play that lovely little clip and see what actually happened here. It was a beautiful moment.
It was the next ball, which not many people realise. I told him he could sleep in my bed the next ball.
Always
listen to the commentary here. Just listen to the commentary here for a minute. It's quite funny.
There's a little giggle of Shane Watson for all those viewers out there. Shane Watson apparently spent the night in Brett Lee's room. He was a bit scared. Might be staying in Brett Lee's room for a start. But here he is, Bobby Dazzler, having a bit of fun.
He was.
They were staying in Lumley Castle, weren't they? They stayed in Lumley Castle, and they
I stayed in it. I went and stayed in that just to see what it was. I stayed in the haunted room. I loved it. It was fantastic. I loved it.
Paul Collingwood was with us on the radio a while back, and he said he stayed in Lumley Castle with his wife, and they got so freaked out they left. I think they left in the middle of the night. Yeah,
well, I went and stayed in it. I think after that game, a few weeks or months later, and I experienced it. It was wonderful. And when I goes back to all this comedy stuff, when I used to watch all these black and white films, right, the one thing that's haunted me ever since then is living, like I said, being with my grandparents when my mum and dad were working, when I wasn't at school. My grandma was obsessed by Frankenstein and Dracula. And I've been scared of horror movies ever since. That's one thing I will not watch. I hate horror movies. And it's ever since I was a young kid, been having to sit there watching my grandma, who was obsessed by Dracula and Frankenstein. Can you imagine that as a young kid? It was him. And I still cannot watch a horror movie. I never would. All the people start talking about the Saw movies and all that. I'm like, not interested. Don't want to watch a horror movie. I'm haunted by it from when I was a kid. My grandmother made me watch Frankenstein and Dracula from being 7 and 8 years old. I'm still scarred to this day.
Well done, Goughy. 6 out of 10.
I'd settle for that. You know, I'm surprised. Most people, if you start talking about figures and what I averaged and stuff like that, I might be able to tell you, but they were too hard, those questions for me. Too hard.
Well, he did all right, 6 out of 10. And actually, as I said, if you'd backed yourself on the either ors, you'd have been up there with 9. And you got the Stephen Fleming question right, which you said you knew. You got 10.
No, I knew that. I was disappointed in that when I thought I should have got that. I should have got the Fleming one. It was right there, and I thought, no, second innings Fleming. I'll go Owen. And you don't even know who Owen was. He used to open the bowling. He only played about 5 tests, so you probably won't know him.
No, you slipped my memory, I have to say.
I think you made him up.
Anyway,
Anyway, listen, we're done. That was hilarious and very entertaining. Thank you very much. And just to say, this is of course in aid of the Professional Cricketers Trust, which you're now sort of associated with officially, aren't you? I mean, I know it's not the same as the PCA, but it's obviously connected. So great that you're involved as what is it, non-executive director? Is it now of the board?
Yeah, non-exec director. I'm also on an advisory committee, which Daryl Mitchell set up, which we've got quite a few current England and ex-England cricketers, male and female, who are on that advisory group as well, which is part of Daryl Mitchell's new role now. So we got our first meeting coming up. Owen Morgan's going to be on it, myself, Chris Jordan, Daryl Mitchell, Heather Knight.
Can you believe that the lad from Barnsley, the Bobby Dazzler, is now a non-executive board director?
I'll be the only non-exec director who turns up in a hoodie and jeans and a pair of trainers. Everybody else are dressed up to the nines. They'll think, what have we done here? But listen, I will always be myself. I love the game. I love cricket. I love people that work in it. I love people that play it. I'm passionate about the game. I've missed it massively. I've talked about that so many times, but I'm just happy to be back involved, whether it be as a commentator, whether it be as a coach, whether it be as a non-exec director. I just want the game to keep growing, to still county cricket to be alive in 10, 15 years, and still to play some of the cricket I enjoy watching. You know what I mean? I went to watch my two kids at the weekend. They're playing the same team now. I saw them play against each other, which is the most nervous I've ever been in an A-grade cricket match in Australia. Can you believe that? I saw my kids play against each other just get this, an A-grade cricket game in Adelaide. Play against each other. It's the most nervous I've ever been. Honestly, I can't explain it how I felt. It was just ridiculous. Just watching them play against each other. Having seen them play together so many times over the years to play against each other, but now they're back playing together in club cricket. I went to watch them at the weekend. They got a win, and I just love it. I love the game, mate. I love cricket.
Actually, Matt Root had that experience recently, didn't he, at Headingley? He watched Billy play against Joe, and Billy got 100 off Joe's bowling. Yeah. Not
exactly
total, but
well, it is. Can you imagine that? Your kids playing against each other. It's the worst thing ever, that. If they were playing in the same team, you kind of get it. But playing against each other is just a weird thing. For a start, Billy Root should never have been let go by Yorkshire. But we could say that about many players that Yorkshire have let go over the years. But that's a different story.
Well, listen, we loved having you, and we love your passion. You know, it's special, actually. So I'm sure all the members tonight would join both Simon and me in saying thank you very much for delivering a bit of it. And we love it listening to you on the radio, actually, as well.
I've enjoyed it.
It's very infectious. Very infectious. So thank you. Please feel free to go and have another packet of crisps and another glass of wine, and we'll play you out with your favourite music. Please feel free to leave the premises.
Cheers, guys.
You can just disconnect now.
I will. See you later, guys.
Cheers, Gobby. Well done. All the best.